Now let us see what is the mechanism of muscle contraction all about. We have discussed the structures of the two proteins, contractile proteins, which were actin and myosin. Now how do they work? In terms of sarcomere, we are going to understand it. There are a few terms that we have to understand. What is a motor unit, what is motor end plate, how the ATP hydrolysis takes place, what is the role of calcium. Very important thing that you have to understand. What is the role of calcium in muscle contraction, and how this sliding filament theory comes into being. Okay, this sliding filament theory is a result of Huxley-Hansen hypothesis, which is more about the contraction and relaxation that takes place as a result of sliding of those filaments, myofibril proteins, over each other. So let us recall what was the structure of sarcomere. You remember, in the sarcomere there were two Z lines which were separating one sarcomere from the other. In between there was an anisotropic band that was made up of myosin proteins, and alternate to this there were isotropic actins. Such was the arrangement of sarcomere. Okay, now these plates being membranous, they can show contraction. What is going to happen, what we are going to study is that this particular part is going to get contracted. It is going to move in this direction like this. Okay, now because the movement is contractile, this movement is going to bring actin more towards inside. Now supposedly these actins have to remain of the same length and they have to reach till here. So automatically this Z line has to be present over here so that we can justify the contraction that has taken place or the movement that has taken place, which would result in shortening of sarcomere, as you must have seen. As I have shown over here, I am representing it. We have seen that there is a precise shortening of sarcomere which has taken place. I started with a sarcomere that began from here till here. Now it has contracted this much, and that contraction has come as a result of actin filaments which are moving over the myosin filaments which stay stationary. Now you have to recall the structures that you studied. I am going to help you in recalling those. Remember these names, we are going to come to them one by one. The structure of actin said that it had two F actins, right, two tropomyosins and troponins. All right, troponins which mask the active sites. Now such was the arrangement that the active sites happened to be present over tropomyosin and F actin, and troponins came and they masked the sites. This was all about actin. In terms of myosin, there were monomers whose structure we studied, and the monomer was meromyosin. The meromyosin had a heavy head which had ATP binding site. Now this is what is to be paid attention towards. Earlier we saw the structure that there was a cross arm, there was a head, there was a tail. That was the basic structure. There was heavy meromyosin and light meromyosin, pardon me. ATP binding site is present. Alright, there is actin binding site that is also present. Because now we are dealing with mechanism of contraction, so we have to see these aspects as well. There is actin binding site, and apart from that there is ATPase sites which are present. So recall the structure. Such was snake like structure, you remember, it was something like this. It had a head, there was another head, another molecule that was something like this. This head had, this was the ATP site, this was the actin binding site. This particular part is the actin binding site. If we have not discussed over there, please remember the upper part happens to be actin binding site. Okay, this happens to be ATPase site, where it is ATPase is present and ATPs are also present, and this entire part is known as cross arm. Now this cross arm is going to form cross bridge, another aspect of muscle contraction. The cross bridge that would be formed between myosin and actin filaments, and because of this cross bridge the contraction comes into being. So please remember these names, that we have two contractile proteins that we discussed earlier as well. In case of myosin, there is an actin binding site, there is ATPase enzyme which is present in the head, there is a cross arm which would form the cross bridge. Now let us see how all this would happen. First of all, I told you that there is the contraction that is brought about voluntarily. Voluntarily means it would be neurogenic contraction. When I say the term neurogenic, I mean to say that the contraction that would be brought about, the signal would come from neurons. So first thing we have to deal with is motor unit. Now what is motor unit all about? The motor unit would be the neurons and the muscle fibers where the excitation or the contraction has to take place. So there is a motor unit which includes the neurons, motor neurons of course, which bring the signal from central nervous system to undergo contraction. So there are motor neurons along with muscle fibers. Alright? That is known as a motor unit. And you know, wherever there are neurons, they have dendrites and synaptic knobs which end up, okay, there is a neuromuscular, such as a neuron supposedly. These are the muscle fibers, syncytium it is, you know that. These are the muscle fibers supposedly. This particular part, this part is known as, the gap between the muscle fibers and the neurons synaptic knob, that is axon's end, is known as motor end plate. Alright. Now what is the motor end plate? The gap or the junction between the muscle fibers and the neurons is known as motor end plate. The other name for it is quite descriptive in itself, neuromuscular junction. Now this is what is present, and what is important to remember over here, that the synaptic knobs of the neurons, they release a neurotransmitter known as acetylcholine, which is released in this neuromuscular junction. That acetylcholine brings about potential change, or it sends an impulse in the sarcolemma. Now what is sarcolemma? You know that it is the membrane of the muscle fiber. So muscle tissue as we call it. Every cell is having its own sarcolemma. So the acetylcholine which is being released from the synaptic knobs, it sends a signal in the sarcolemma, and by that signal I mean an impulse is being sent which leads to release of calcium divalence from sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now see again, I am repeating it, how it happens. A signal from brain is sent through motor neurons to our muscles that a contraction has to be brought about. That contraction would be brought about when the neurons, motor neurons, they come to the motor unit where the neurons are in contact with muscle fibers through a small motor end plate. At the motor end plate, the neuron which brings the signal, it has to give the signal to the muscle that it has to undergo contraction. For that contraction, it gives the signal in the form of release of a neurotransmitter, that is acetylcholine. This acetylcholine, it sends an impulse on the entire sarcolemma which is being sensed by the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and that ends in the release of calcium 2 positive ions. This is where we have to understand that now the muscle has started the contraction. Now there is an all or none principle that comes into being, that once enough calcium ions and enough impulse has been generated that muscle has to undergo contraction, then it would go complete contraction. It would not stop in between, as in the case of your hand. Supposedly you have to move it like this, you will bring the complete contraction. There won't be that half of the muscle undergoes contraction. So once this phenomena has taken place, that the release of calcium ions have taken place, now the two plates, these two bands, they have come into action and they would undergo contraction. Now how do they undergo contraction? For that you need to recall the structure of actin and myosin, which I have repeated again just now. In case of myosin, as soon as the calcium ions are being released, when the calcium ions get released, they go and bind the active sites of actin, okay? They go and bind to the active sites of actin, which is masked by troponin. So basically, the calcium ions would go and bind with troponin, which exposes actin sites, okay? Now, we are talking about actin proteins over here. We are talking about actin that is present over here. What would happen is that over here few sites would be exposed because calcium goes and binds with troponin and exposes the sites. Now, what happens in the meantime? ATP hydrolysis takes place. I told you in the beginning that this was an important term in muscle contraction, because ATP hydrolysis, when it takes place, it leads to the formation of ADP and phosphate inorganic. That is quite basic by now because we have done it so many times. ATP breaks down to ADP and phosphate inorganic. What happens as a result of this breakdown is that the myosin actin binding site, the head of myosin which had actin binding site, it goes and binds with the exposed sites, okay? So this binding can be shown like this. How that binding would be shown? Supposedly this is actin, these were the troponin sites, just a line diagram I am using to represent it. This is myosin, there is a cross arm head, that is, such was the structure, such head. ATP hydrolysis takes place over here, ATP hydrolysis when it has taken place. Over there calcium comes and binds with troponin. Now, when the ATP hydrolysis takes place, this ATP binding site is also exposed and it comes and joins over here like this. It would come and join to the active site. Similarly, there would be another meromyosin which would be present, it would also join, and such would be the joining, that in a way the ATP hydrolysis would be able to move these actins inwards towards the myosin. So this is what is all about the sliding of actin filament over the myosin. This is actin and this is myosin. I hope I am able to represent it to you, that what happens is we have studied the structure of myosin monomer, that is a meromyosin. Meromyosin is having ATP and actin binding site. When the ATP hydrolysis takes place, it goes and binds to those sites of actin which were earlier masked by troponin, but due to the presence of calcium ions, it gets exposed and it joins with those. When it joins with those, it brings them inside. That means there is a sliding which takes place. The overlapping filament, it comes inside into the sarcomere unit, and there is contraction in both the Z lines which take place. Then what happens after this is that this ATP hydrolysis, which has resulted into the formation of ADP and phosphate inorganic, this would combine again. These sites would not be available then ATP comes into the scene. They would come into their previous condition. At the same time, the calcium that was present, that would leave the troponin molecules. The troponin molecules would come and do the masking again, and the calcium would go back to sarcoplasmic reticulum from where it was released, and the muscle that was in the contracted state due to bringing by myosin filaments, it gets back relaxed. So the sarcomere initially was still here. Now once the relaxation would take place, these actin molecules would go back because there won't be any cross bridge formation that resulted in shifting. So this cross bridge formation was very important, and the muscle comes back to the relaxation state. state. So this is all about muscle contraction, few of the terms that you had to understand, and few of the mechanisms. The only mechanism was that the cross bridge formation has to take place between the actin binding head of myosin and the troponin mast sites, which were exposed due to the release of calcium ions. So what you have to remember is that calcium ions are very, very important. At times the activity of calcium ions is also reduced by presence of magnesium, but calcium is very, very important for muscle contraction, because without calcium being released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, muscle contraction cannot be brought about, and whatever movement I am doing at present with my hands, as you can see, that won't be possible if the calcium that was released from sarcoplasmic reticulum could not mask the troponin, so that the active sites get exposed. So this is all about muscle contraction. I hope next time whenever you are doing any sort of movement, you realize what sort of work your body is doing. It is doing lot of work, lot of ionic interactions, lot of potential changes. That is why all this movement is brought about.